Hi everyone, you're on the road with me tonight. I know this is pretty soon for another rant, so we won't call it a rant. I guess we'll just call it mumbling. um, yeah, there's lots of stuff on my mind. I might actually increase these videos a little bit more. It's just it keeps my mind sharp, I think, and so it's really hard for me to. I'm constantly thinking of different things for paranormal and um, weirdness in my head. A lot of people think that I'm, probably insane for, thinking about this stuff for like almost half the time of my life. But, hey, to each their own, I guess. Tonight, I think we're going to talk about personal demons, and I don't necessarily mean personal demons like drug addictions or alcoholic, stuff like that. I'm going to pretty much focus on the idea that people can't let go of their demons. They have to have them in their life, otherwise they'd feel empty inside. We'll get a little bit more into that. We're going to talk about my hypnosis experiments that I've done. I am a ex-licensed hypnotherapist. I no longer really practice that anymore, but I'm aware of it and I know how to do it. We'll talk a little bit about that and my studies with the paranormal. We're going to talk about there's one more thing here. Can't think of it offhand, but first up, we're going to talk about the demons thing, the personal demons. It might get dark once in a while because I'm going to be driving here. You guys going to keep me awake over the road, and I'm going to try to concentrate driving and talking at the same time here. Personal demons. Personal demons are a thing that we deal with on paranormal cases all the time, and it's something that we try to not get into because it can turn into a therapist session. We really don't want that to happen. When we're at a paranormal investigation, it's more strictly finding out what is there, finding out what's there and determining if it's something that we are going to bother with. Excuse me. Because once it does come to, it's getting a little dark. Once it does come down to, like, oh my God, we need to find a therapist for a client or whatever. I can drive with that on. Like I said, we will try to stay away from that as much as possible, just because we understand that somebody's personal demons, some people are not willing to let go of it, and this could be anything, because believe it or not, most people's darkness inside is what makes them them. We can get into the aspect of trying to exercise these things from people, but there is a thing called the perfect possession. Sometimes some people are born dark-souled, and it's a part of their soul. You can't necessarily get rid of it. The only thing that you really can do for these type of people is be there for them and teach them a balance in life. Not to go off and be destructive with their darkness. And you've probably noticed that I have vampire things and whatever. I have my own personal things that I care not to really talk about, and I understand it. It upsets people, but it is a part of who I am. Obviously, I'm not going to be talking about the deep stuff that I'm into or whatever. I feel that it isn't really necessarily important to talk about, but sometimes some people, like I say, they can't let go of it. They'll feel incomplete. So you can't necessarily try to get rid of these things for these people. Obviously they have to deal with it on their own and come to copes with it. And if you can catch this early on in these people's lives, you can mentor them into something more balanced than a completely evil person. We could talk into genetics and that if you really want to, but it's I really feel that it's how you are brought up and how you perceive things in life that you can correct these things. I've always had the philosophy that it's all about genetics and that, but let's say a child, somebody got raped or whatever, and they had a child of over this crime, and the child grows up in a nice environment, and they decide to have a kid, obviously, and they raise the kid to respect his elders and blah blah blah. You get the picture, but don't turn into a raving lunatic criminal mastermind. And it's how they were raised. Same concept for somebody with natural dark gifts or just dark-souled in general. They're not necessarily evil people, or not evil at all. They just don't know how to cope with their passions inside. Personal demons, it's a hard subject to talk about because a lot of people don't want to talk about it. And when we're at a case or whatever, I have one in particular that I'll always have in mind. This lady, we went out there. It's not a show that you can watch. We had to take it down. Just too much conflict with that particular video. This particular lady, she was tormented. She had psychics and whatever tell her that there's freaking demons everywhere, and then over time she actually believed it. And she was stuck inside the house for freaking years. She wouldn't leave the house because over time she made her own demons haunt her, keeping her inside the house. And she, it was so dramatic. It was so dramatic that we had to leave. And we try to tell her to relax or whatever, and we don't find anything paranormal there. And it comes down to her being either haunted or she's making these things up in her mind. And I'd say about 90% of our cases are like that. But that was a little bit more extreme, because people are, you know, I don't know if people were purposely cutting themselves, not cutting themselves, scratching themselves. It was a mess, because we had we had other people that were there that were messing with our investigation, our philosophies. I put all my like weirdness aside when it comes to cases like that. I even put my abilities to read people aside too, and try to look at it as, per se, a normal person, logically. Put the cruise control on. Logically, just to help these people out a little bit more, because my own perception on the paranormal, yes, is a little dark. There's no way, that I'm going to enforce my beliefs onto this particular person, because I feel that it might actually make it worse. So I'll keep certain things to myself, just because I feel that it might actually, if this person is mentally unstable, anything I say is going to increase their paranoia or add on to their already disturbed reality. And I want people to realize, the people that stumble upon these videos and like, wow, this guy's really freaking insane. There's no such thing as spirits and blah, blah, blah. And, a lot of people have to think this way, because it is, the possibility of something being out there is very, it makes my life personally a little bit more easier to cope with, because it's not just that, it's, I've seen things, obviously seen things, heard things, and I've dealt with some weird stuff. It's just too bad that I couldn't record all of that stuff. I mean, I would like to record like everything that I do, because I think I do have an interesting life in a way. But, yeah, it's more of a mental thing for a lot of people to clear themselves with, or try to clear themselves from a spiritual standpoint. Because a lot of these people think drugs or alcohol can be stopped by a simple prayer or whatever it may be. And it doesn't even have to be that particular religion. It could be any religion pertaining to beliefs like that. Anyway, like I say, I try not to talk about that stuff, because obviously it does upset people, and I don't want that kind of a discussion, really. So I'll leave it as that, people with darkness inside, or those demons, they're there for a purpose sometimes, and it could be a good purpose. And what I mean by that is, it makes people stronger. It's part of their life, and them simply trying to get rid of it, they're going to become empty inside. And sometimes people just have to learn how to deal with it. I'm not talking about somebody having like a personal demon of like, they went to war and they're having flashbacks of, people dying and stuff. I mean, yes, that's a whole nother demon in itself. But overall, you need to realize that this stuff there's this, it will never go away. And approaching that situation can be a tricky one at that. So for a lot of, like, it worries me when I see a new paranormal team or whatever coming into a place and they're just setting up cameras and they don't realize that aspect of it, like what you say will determine on how these people react to the rest of their freaking lives. There might not be something there might be something there. You just have to be careful what you say, because the mind can be a fragile thing. Now, speaking of the mind, like I said at the beginning of this, I used to be a licensed hypnotherapist. And if you really want to know a little bit more about me, I mean, I have a diploma in parapsychology, astrology, and demonology, a little bit of theology there, a little bit. I used to practice the dark arts, not really much anymore. I had a few apprentices in my lifetime, but overall here, we're going to be talking about the hypnotherapy session of my life. And my experiments with these people are they're voluntary. I get them on camera or recorder saying that I have permission to do this. And my experiments with hypnotherapy would be alien abduction, ritual therapy. I did a few cases with that. It's more of like trauma with paranormal experiences. First, when I first got into it, it was more of I was messing with people's heads and making them do weird things. But I got into the aspect of, can we throw a spirit into someone's body by suggesting their mind lower themselves down to let something in? Of course, it would be, willing. I'd tell these people what I would be doing to them beforehand, and I'd get their permission. Anyway, particularly, I like the alien ones just because they were so much related to a paranormal experience, like people experiencing demons or something in their room. And this video might be longer than normal. Just to forewarn you. Anyway, these experiments would last hours and hours and hours, and just to see how the mind reacts to different suggestions. And this got really intense. It got so intense that I actually stopped doing it for a really long time, because I pretty much grew a conscience. I'm like, oh my God, I could really mess somebody up with this stuff. I can make them do whatever I want. And I had a 90% accuracy of getting somebody under just simply talking to them. It's a natural. I caught on to it early.
Think that you're gonna have this feeling.
My teens.
It's filled with happiness.
I learned that I could control people through hypnotic suggestion
fear and anxiety.
And not
it's all
even
gone.
be trained to
I'm gonna count to 3. This is gonna be completely permanent in your mind. You understand?
It's something that it really got
1,
to me. Like
2,
I got
3.
really power hungry with it, I would have to say. And over my time, I got wise. I got wise, and I could, learned it. I actually went, self-taught myself. I read books, and then I went to go get my license for it. But And overall, you don't even really need to be licensed to be doing this stuff. But as long as you get that person's permission, like I said. Anyway, my experiments were throwing spirits into people's bodies. Demons, angels, you freaking name it, I did it. This is some next level stuff. It may sound freaking weird. The people that I've done this to, there's only like one that she could actually remember what that thing, she said that she could feel it inside her. She remembers me controlling her, whatever I said she would do. But then when I threw this thing inside her body, and what I guess it kind of freaked me out, because yes, this particular person was my friend, but the spirit that was inside her, it knew things about me, and I was actually shocked that, when I was younger, I learned how to take these entities out of people's bodies. But somehow I learned how to throw them into people and then take them out again. It's something very rare. I'm the only one that I know of that done something like this. So, I just wish I had a recording of it, because it was such a unique experience that I can only tell you through my experience that it was beyond my comprehension. Really, it really was, and it kind of did freak me out. And thinking about it now, it freaked the heck out of me. And I back then I really didn't care what I did to people. I was a very vicious, mean, revengeful person, and no one could stop me. That's how I felt inside, and I felt, and that was part of my own demons. That you can hide it all you want, but there's just some things, man, that it can even scare you. Anyway, this particular case, I had to pull it out fairly quickly, because it actually started saying things that I didn't want out, didn't want other people to know about. And obviously you try to block it out and try to be, this was just an experiment. Dude, some experiments can get out of hand, get out of control. And then, so I had to end that one particularly. Believe it or not, I'm not going to get into any more, really. I have ones that really terrified me, that just talking about it makes me scared, because these particular things, I know they're around, I know they're real, and I've come across them at paranormal cases before, and it just blows my mind away. But the one particularly that made me kind of stop doing it, well, not as frequently, I kind of do it from time to time, but it's more or less to help people with with their fears or addictions, and try to take it away from them. That's kind of what I do now. It's pretty much on experience. I became wise, I think, over time, and to be able to help people with problems deeper than what people can imagine. And it sucks, because a lot of this stuff is real to these people, And if I can help them out as much as I can, so be it. Anyway, the case that really made me stop doing this, I terrified this person beyond belief within their mind. They went into a seizure and collapsed, and I lost control over that person's mind. And it took me a while to gain control back, and it terrified me that I lost control over somebody, that the fear or whatever it may be like took over my own control that I had over this person. And they pretty much had an alien abduction right there on the floor. You could see the terror in their eyes. And it was kind of a game to show people that I could do it, and it was for the longest time like a game to do stuff like that. But after seeing what I did, I could really mess somebody up, so nowadays it's more or less I want to learn how people perceive paranormal experiences. And you'd have to say that all my hypnotic sessions were based upon the same thing, same experiments. But sorry, man. Something that's been in my head for a while I wanted to talk about. I couldn't, man, I can't even talk. It was such a life-changing experience. And I really had to reassess of what I was doing, just for my own personal greed or whatever it may be, my own curiosity. In life we have mad scientists that if done, that's how I look at it as. It's like, holy crap, I am a mad scientist when it comes to that. I need to control myself, and I pretty much stopped messing with people's minds really after that. But I can tell you, that's related to a lot of paranormal experiences that people have, is how easily the mind can perceive or be tuned to pick up these energies. And the person doesn't even have to believe in spirits. The mind can be reprogrammed like that in a heartbeat to believe in spirits or whatever. So it's hard when I see a paranormal team or whatever, a new one coming out there, and I see how they just set up their cameras and they're like, what's and then just start blabbling about stuff that they have no idea what they're talking about. It irritates me. Yes, there is ones that have degrees and stuff like that too, and like I say, I don't throw that stuff around. I don't like talking about myself really, but even though a lot of these blogs that I've been doing, yes, they're about me, because I base a lot of stuff on our investigations off of my experience, and that's the way it should be. But I take steps in what we do. We even have legal documents anything pertaining to like a lawsuit or whatever. I mean, if anybody wants any of that stuff, I have every single law paper that you could think of to get into a place without getting sued, or but we really don't do those much anymore. Like I said, we do a lot of like public places. Anyway, what do you think of me doing a podcast? Probably, I don't know. It is something that I've been thinking about. It does cost money to do, so that would be an aspect of it. Alright, I'm gonna go here. Thanks for watching my crazy rant of nonsense. Yeah. Alright, bye.